all my lovely people. To all my lovely people. To all my lovely people. Nothing about life is easy. Nothing about life is fair. Time goes by, only love remains. Let's go on a journey. Let's go to a place. 2021, I hope there'll be a better day. Let's take on this journey. Let's just do our best. Take care of our loved ones and wear a mask in public place. In 2020, we had a lot of deaths, but as time goes by, my condolences. Stay blessed, gotta stay blessed, gotta stay blessed, gotta stay blessed. The world is coming, the world is humming, muttering about things that may never come. Muttering, 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 muttering. Life is a one-way train. Lose it, then none remain. People are crying, more are dying. What will we do if this does not stop? The muttering, people are muttering. Please stop the muttering. Shut them out, stop muttering. Oh boy, it's so draining. Nothing about life is easy. Nothing about life is fair. As time goes by, only love remains. Let's go on a journey. Let's go to a place. 2021, hope it be a better day. Let's take on this journey. Let's just do our best. Take care of our loved ones and wear a mask in public place. 2020, we had a lot of deaths. My condolences. Stay blessed.